Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of To Whom It May Concern. I'm your host, Malak, here with my co-hosts, Kuwaila, Inara, and Mariam. As the March special continues, so do our line of amazing guests. Today's guest is like no other. She is an acupuncturist. She's an herbalist. She's a designer, an Instagrammer. She has her own YouTube channel, and she podcasts. This guest literally experienced it all, and she continues to do that by empowering women and supporting small businesses. If you don't already know who this guest is, you can follow her Instagram page by AWEEA. But today we have the creator and founder of the page, Miss Alex Khoury.
Hi.
Hello. How are you, Alex?
I'm good. How are you all?
Good.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for having me. Actually, that's so sweet of you guys.
No, thank you for joining us. Yeah, thank you for coming on and being willing to share your experiences and all this knowledge that you have in so many different aspects of life. Honestly, I think your knowledge and your experience is vast across so many different things. It's pretty exciting, honestly.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I know. I like to dabble in stuff, just dabble in everything.
So can you kind of give us just your background story, where you've come from, where you grew up, kind of how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Alex Khoury. I am actually Lebanese, but I'm a convert. And I converted in college, and I really studied about Islam, and I really felt like this was a religion that I believe in. It was like in my heart, like this means so much to me, and it just felt right. Then I studied, acupuncture and herbalism right after college, because my mom's an acupuncturist as well. So I've done that for now like 10 plus years as an acupuncturist and herbalist. And then I just had my kids about 6 years ago, and that's when I had to stop working as an acupuncturist. And at that time, I used to cosplay.
With which anime characters?
All these different characters. And I didn't wear hijab at the time, so it's like I wish I could show you those pictures. I can probably show you guys, but not everyone could see it. But yeah, so I used to sew and make my own dresses and do all these things. So I started when I had my son. I felt so down, depressed. I had kind of postpartum depression at that time, and I really wanted to do something. So I started my company, AWEEA, 2016. And I was just sewing turbans. I was making baby turbans. I was just making small things here and there. And then my friend Hakima, who I'm not sure if you guys know her, she's Hakima CMB. She's a personal stylist, a Muslim personal stylist. She's like, Alex, why don't you make abayas and dresses? I know you can do this. And I started making that. And I've been doing that for a year or two. And then my name AWEEA is actually Kawiya, AWEEA, strong woman. And it was a nickname I had. They used to call me AWEEA, and because I always, talk back sometimes.
You don't back
not meanly, but if somebody messes with you, I've got your back. That's what's gonna happen.
Yes.
So AWEEA came about that when I was doing the baby turbans, but I worked with a life coach just recently, and I was my biggest mission was to empower women. When I used to treat as an acupuncturist, I used to treat fertility and people who had hard time getting pregnant. And I used to really empower, I wanted to empower them and say, it's okay. You even if you don't have a child, just work with them in their emotional sense. And I forgot about that, becoming a designer, and I wanted something different. So I was nobody has a directory for all these small businesses in the US and Canada. Let me just make one. And I got 200 businesses. I found 200 businesses just doing research. It took a month. I posted it on Instagram. Then it got I got so many people telling me I'm a small business. And it just went from there. So now, it's I'm switching from hand sewn items to supporting small businesses.
That's so different. Starting from one and then ending where you are.
Yeah, it's just.
But they're also connected. One leads to the next.
It kept leading. It was like a stepping stone. I'm still an acupuncturist, herbalist. My family's I'm still licensed. I still treat people here and there, but the I'm still also sewing. Like I make masks now just because last year was crazy. Nobody had masks. So like I just started making masks at the time. But I'm really trying to support small businesses now and work on my podcast more as well.
So Alex, you mentioned that you originally did want to empower small businesses. Was that like the intention before starting AWEEA, or would that just grow with you?
It just grew with me. Like I was making just clothing, trying to do handmade pieces that were unique, trying to enforce that like uniqueness as Muslim women. It's hard to do handmade as a designer because in the US, people like fast fashion. So you can't charge the amount because it's like you're doing yourself. You're not getting it from a manufacturing company. But no, AWEEA started just by that, like AWEEA meaning strong woman as in like your style, and then it went from to small businesses.
Which works out still for the name for like, like subhanAllah, how the name still continues to be with. And I remember when I first saw your page like 2 years ago, I was like, whoa, like my first response was like, her design is very different and unique. So I was like, I need, and I remember I like ordered a kimono. I was like, I want a new style, something different. Yeah. And I'm like, I was like, her style is very unique and different. And I like to try different things. So I was able to see that your design was not like any other. And I like that. Like there was like a uniqueness to it. And you could tell the quality was there, like different types of fabrics that were used.
Yeah.
The different styles, there's different patterns. And then I was like, I like this uniqueness to it. So there's like this character that I loved about AWEEA.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to be more like different because everyone has that same black one or the same lace, just different colors. I felt like here it's like we need to be brighter and, show ourselves more. I'm wearing like pink. So I just like a lot of color, but it's hard to be a handmade business in the US. I think if I lived in Emirat, it would work out better because people do spend money for these kind of unique items and stuff. So.
Yeah. I definitely appreciate the handmade stuff so much more because Huayla crochets and it takes her, she does. And it takes her so much time and effort. And you would think, just give it to me right now. It takes 10 seconds. So I appreciate you because I tried crocheting once and I just quit in 10 seconds. But I really love your name, AWEEA, because I feel like in general, when you use it as an Arab term, it comes with a negative connotation with it. Like, oh, she's so AWEEA, she's so strong-willed, she's so stubborn. So I love that you kind of reclaimed it.
Yes, that's exactly it. Like it's always like, oh, she's too AWEEA, like shufe a little bit, like she's too much. Like, and you're just like, come on, man. Like, what does that mean? Like, why can't we be strong? So yeah, that's really I'm trying to shift the connotation of AWEEA, like. Because there's no other way of calling a woman strong, right? How do you say strong woman?
It's just the tone of voice that changes.
Yeah, it's just the tone. And it's like mostly, I think, men who are like, or even like the older generation, they're too much, too strong.
I've heard women say, oh, AWEEA. Like I heard
that's what I mean.
Use it as a negative as well. And I think that's sometimes part of the issue is like women ourselves are kind of harsh and, going back to the empowering other women, I think it also starts with us like supporting each other and really trying to uplift one another.
So Alex, I know that you are kind of dabbling in everything and now you're doing the supporting small businesses, but you're also recently starting your own podcast and your YouTube channel. What kind of made you delve into that also?
Well, I used to have a YouTube on DIYs like sewing and stuff and that was fun, but it wasn't like it didn't work on my creativity and like what it really meant for me. Like it was just for fun. Then I decided like, you know what? Nobody really knows about these different companies. Let me do YouTube reviews. First, I started with a podcast and I interviewed small businesses actually and how they got started in their businesses. And I just did it by season and I'm going to have a next season with something else, inshallah, after Ramadan. And it was like a lot of people, I wanted to empower people to be like, hey, I can start my own small business too, So then I put that as a YouTube and it's like what you guys are doing. It's like also as a YouTube episode or also on a podcast itself, like audio. You have like different modalities people can watch you. And then I started doing the product reviews because I know there's so many companies nobody knows about. Like, and they need to be empowered. They have like maybe 100 followers, let's show them off. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Starting your own business is scary.
yeah,
Especially in like the market that we have today, where all these big businesses are monopolizing the industries. So just empowering small businesses is such a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
And especially the way you're doing it through social media, because I feel like a lot of people don't know about social media marketing. And it's like a new and up and coming thing that people are trying to dabble in or trying to get their exposure on these different platforms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think our well, you guys are younger than me, but this generation, like, it's more like Instagram, and past generations like Facebook, I think, more Facebook. But Instagram, TikTok, those are the ones that are like, you need to showcase stuff and really fast, you know, like as fast as you can. But yeah, I think also one thing is that I really want to talk about is collaboration versus competition. With small businesses, I've noticed like there are a lot of businesses that are like not happy with each other as small business owners. And there was a big thing that happened. It really showed me that like, wow, as Muslim women, we should empower each other no matter what stage you are in your business. And so I'm really all about that collaboration, even if you have similar products. One thing I can't stand is copying, which is starting to happen as well in Muslim businesses. If you like notice Ramadan decor, some people are actually copying designs, and it's becoming an issue.
How do you go about selecting who you're going to feature for the episode or the show?
Yeah, so I contact the businesses to see if they want to be featured, but it's like what I'm trying to, it's hard to figure out episodes, but it's like, what do people need? You know, what are people looking for? Like prayer garments, like I'm working on a episode on that's coming up, like Ramadan books for their kids, you know, prayer mats for their kids. Like, it's just different things like to help a person find that item and support small businesses, especially Muslim businesses, and not get it from like a big company. So that's where I try to think like, what are people looking for? And Google search, there's all these programs also that you can search what are people looking for on YouTube.
I wanted to go back to what you mentioned, collaboration versus competition, because I feel like a lot of people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk in the sense of empowering other people. And I think we all have this mentality of, you can be great, just not greater than me. So I think we need to break through that bridge and really just want the best for your other small businesses, because we're all in this race together.
Right.
And if you know, collaborate with one another, I love that. Because a lot of people don't think of that, especially if in the same niche, they also think we have to compete against them. There's no way we can collaborate against them. But if you change that mindset of, let's collaborate, let's figure this out so that people order from both you and me, it's a win-win situation.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed it's a scarcity mindset. Like, you think you're not going to have enough, like people are not going to purchase my item if I say like, look at this other person's item. But in reality, it kind of makes you look better, like just to showcase. But I've noticed a lot of Muslim women like doing these I'm doing a giveaway coming up soon with different companies, like Muslim women. And I think it's so good to collaborate with them and show that Muslim women do care about each other. Because if you see American companies, they do a lot of collaboration.
Yeah,
but a lot of that stems from like that capitalist mindset of more, keep growing and trying to dominate whatever your company is going for.
I also see this, you know, when I hear other women, they say women empowering women, you also hear them empower women that are already empowered or already successful, already have made it. So you kind of see the same voices continuously being elevated. And it's like, how about people that maybe don't have a lot of sales or people that don't have a huge following? How about them? And so sometimes that's another aspect of it where I see, women empowering women, but then it's like those people have already made it successful. And those are the people they have the mic and are still kind of continuously being elevated, but it's like they already reached that, like they're already there. So it's also, you know, having a balance of like, how do you also get people who are newly coming into the field, as well as people who have made it successful to, you know, continuously motivate other individuals going in.
Well, it's hard because like when you get to that stage too, it's like, I think there's a thought process, like I've gotten to that stage, like, you know, I worked so hard to get there. Why should I like try to help this other person who just started? You know, I don't know if that's what something happens in their head. I'm making that up right now, but I'm just trying to think like what happens. So, or like they start to look at followers or like, okay, this person has this amount of followers. Okay, I'll work with them. It's kind of like that thought. And it's just really heartbreaking because I know I started like with, you start with a small following, your family or something, and then it takes so long to build. And it's just how you have to, it's just how you figure out who you want to work with and the type of people. Like those big influencers, I wish they can do promotions for these businesses just out of their own kindness, I don't know.
Maybe because it took so long to get there, they're just stuck in that like habit of this is how they work. So it's not like it's intentional, like not forgetting the people behind you. They just don't know how to because they are used to being, I guess, on the bottom of that.
Well, I think also they don't see those small companies anymore because how IG doesn't show different people. It's like whoever you follow mostly or you look into, it's like the person pops up. So they probably don't see these tiny businesses. And that's what I'm trying to do. It's like, hey, look at this small business. They have really great Ramadan decor, check them out or go to my list and like pick whoever you want because there's so many companies here,
Yes, I love that directory that you created. I'm like, this is so clutch. Like it literally has every different fields, different topics, different businesses. And I'm like, this is needed and I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm definitely gonna continue to use this because you don't, there's fashion. There's also like, I believe you put social services. There's health. Yeah. There's just like so many aspects. And I'm like, I love this. This is very much needed.
Oh, thank you. I'm still trying to grow it. It's just, there's some people who are like, can you put restaurants? I'm like, no, like I cannot do that. That's huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge list.
And it's also very like specific to location.
Yeah. It's just, no, I can't do that.
Is it very specific to small businesses? So if it like they reach an X number of following, do they fall off the list?
No. Like for instance, Hot Hijab is on the list. Like those big companies like Culture Hijab, like it doesn't matter. It's just women-owned business. That's what I do, or family-owned because I know there's some family businesses that have the woman all and the husband or whatever working together. So that's what I put in the list. But it's only in US and Canada. Like some people ask me in Emirat, like, can you put a list for us? I was like, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, in the UK, there is somebody who did the same thing, actually. So it was really great to meet her, and she does a list as well. So it was really great. She put it all over Europe, so I was so excited to see that. And she's done it before me. I was like, whoa, who are you? I love you.
It's crazy how like two people can think of the same exact idea at different times, but like not know of it till after the fact.
Right? It's so crazy.
So Alex, we're talking about small businesses, but how do you keep them motivated? I could see it being discouraging when you don't see, a following. You're like, should I give up? Is there really a need for my product? So how do you keep businesses motivated to be like, keep trying? This is a part of the process. So what advice would you give those individuals?
Yeah. I think you need to take baby steps and you keep improving 1% at a time and you'll get better and better. And it's something even with my YouTube and podcast, like how do you stay motivated? Because at a point you're just like, is anyone listening to me? Like sometimes you have this thought or like, is my YouTube going to grow? Because you have to reach like 1,000 subscribers, unfortunately, like to start monetizing if you want to monetize as a YouTuber or even get like better algorithms just as a YouTuber. And as a small business, like when you start, you put a lot of money into your business and you're thinking, how am I going to sell this? So there are a lot of companies now that are Muslim based, are women owned based as well, that help small businesses like marketing and also building their business. And I would contact them if you're a small business struggling, like just contact them. Yes, you might have to spend a little money, but they are professionals in their field and they'll help you. That's one mistake. I did everything by myself. I didn't have like a virtual assistant or anyone to help me grow. And, I'm just all hands-on, but sometimes you need that person who's professional, who knows about marketing, who knows how to build websites. And that's what I think small business should do. And in terms of growth, it will grow. It might take time and then it will like grow faster and faster. It's just like an exponential growth somehow, just like boom. So I think just keep going. But if it's something you don't love and you are noticing it's not bringing you joy, like sewing for me is starting to change in my mind, then you can shift. Like nobody can keep you in that place by yourself.
I hate when people think that they have to stick to something because it's what they've always been doing if they started losing the joy in doing it. And there's a difference between, oh, I just don't feel like doing it today versus you are miserable every single time you do it now. And I think people feel like if they started it, they have to stick with it now for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. I think our generation, though, is broken away from that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm obviously one of those people.
It's hard, though, if you're like putting so much into it in the beginning and then after you realize it after the fact. But it's like I gave up so much time, money, effort to just give it up.
Yeah, that's hard because like you put like your love into it. Like it's just, you have to really think, is this really working for me? Is this supporting me in my growth? And like, you have to step back and say, is this really working out? Did I give it enough time? Mm-hmm. Like, did I give it a chance? And if not, then give it a chance. Like, take some time. It takes like years for businesses to grow. Like those big companies, they started off really small. It took them like 8 or 9 years to grow, you know?
Yeah.
For example, I'm just going to bring Hot Hijab again. They started small and they kept working. And Melanie kept doing a good job, like trying to find different companies, working with outsourcing. They were a small company before, and they just really worked hard to get where they are. So I think if you're a small business, don't feel bad. Like, don't think like you can be like those big companies all of a sudden. You have to really work hard.
Yeah. Be patient with your growth.
Yeah, be patient with your growth.
I think we often forget the process. We assume automatically that they just made it just as fast.
Right.
So, you just compare yourself, but it's like, like Hot Hijab took years till they became who they are today. Mm-hmm. But somebody else who's coming into the hijab business might be like, well, I'm not seeing this, but look at how well they're doing. And so you begin to compare, but forgetting the effort that it did take or the journey that it took them to get there. And I think that's so important, Alex, to remember that. And I like the process.
I also don't like it when people get upset that these big Muslim companies are like doing so well. That's one thing I've realized. There's some other companies are like, well, they have like hundreds of thousands of dollars, or they have this and that. Well, yeah, they have that because they work so hard to get to that point. So you should be proud and empowered even those big businesses that are successful.
I think that falls back to the competition mindset.
Yeah.
That if you keep comparing numbers, you'll never feel happy or satisfied, or ever satisfied with your growth. Because I know people start at the same year too. So let's say you started in 2020, but someone's just growing a lot faster than you, then you feel disheartened.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, don't compare. Keep going. Do you. Yeah. And as long as it keeps making you happy.
That's right.
Then that's all that matters. But I kind of wanted to go back a little bit because I really love having you this month on the show because it is International Women's Month. And I feel like what you do is exactly what we need to inspire women. So when you were doing acupuncture, and now that you're empowering small business women or small business owners.
Yeah, I think are women, because there are some men that I actually been working with too. But yeah, mostly small business women. Yeah, and it's interesting to me because I feel like in both positions, you worked with people who are kind of in a more vulnerable state and you want to empower them. Do you see that too as a connection between then and now? What do you mean by that?
Like is there a reason why I feel like you work with more vulnerable people who need inspiration more. Yeah, like, I mean, coming to you for acupuncture for infertility is such a, like, someone is in such a vulnerable place. And I feel like also when you're opening a small business, you are also in a similarly, like, vulnerable place. So it's funny, do you just naturally gravitate?
I feel like I asked somebody, actually, I was like, they said they just felt comfortable asking me that question. Just even like messaging me, hey sis, can you just post this on your story? I'm like, sure, I'll just post it. I think that, I don't know if I'm glad I come across that way, that people can reach out to me and not feel scared to reach out and just ask that, like, hey, can you support me? Can you join this? Like somebody recently was like, can you join this challenge? It's free. I was like, I'm in 3 different challenges now. I'm like, but I will post it on my story. So let me post it. Or, hey, can you tell me how I can be supported? And then I give them like things. But yeah, there's some things, I guess people do feel okay. I'm glad I'm glad I feel that like people.
You definitely give off that vibe.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. As soon as like when you joined our Muslim Podcasters group chat, like you just naturally have this like positivity, and I'm like, I love it. Even when you look at your page, like you can tell. I'm like, what? I am here to like help small businesses and empower other people. I was like, it's genuine, and you that vibe. I know with no hesitation, and I love it.
Thank you, because sometimes I have a resting face, so I was like. I swear to God, I was like, I'm really not that mean. So I'm glad that they feel that way. And it's just like, what harm does it do to empower these women? Like, what will it cost you to not show this person, off or whatever? And that's how I think. I'm like, if I don't like share the story, what's going to happen? Like, it's going to create an issue with my business. Instagram is like, I have a love-hate relationship with it, because it's like you have to have the most beautiful feed, like all this stuff. And I'm just like getting away from that and trying not to worry about any of that. Because even when you reach I'm almost 10,000, which is what I'm trying to reach, so I can help swipe up to these people's companies' websites immediately. It's like they make it hard for you to grow, I think, Instagram. But at the same time, it's like I'm not looking at numbers anymore. I'm taking time away from the phone, enjoying my family, and working on my projects that I need to. But if small businesses do ask me anything, I'm always there, no matter what.
So I'm glad that you kind of mentioned taking time off Instagram, Alex, and focusing on your family and just taking some personal time. Because the entire time you're talking, I'm just like, wow, mashallah, like she can balance and do it all. And I don't nearly have as much on my plate as you do, but even as a student or working and just trying to balance everything that you want to do and your family time, how do you do it? Or how do you feel like, what's helped you to be able to balance that and still do what you want?
Well, it took me a couple of years to get there, because in the beginning, like I would spend all my nights sewing and working and trying to build my business. And then even on the phone, like trying to edit. And I use editing programs for my YouTube. So it's like I'm constantly editing or using my phone. And I realized just recently, it hasn't been even like, it's been like a couple months, that I was just not focusing on my kids, who are really little. They're 5 and 3. And I was like, what am I doing? This is making me crazy, first of all, to see like, did this person like this post? It's like, who cares if that person didn't like it, or how many people are looking at your stuff. And so I gave myself now a time period, like from just 2 time periods, because I get a lot of messages now on Instagram. So I do have to check that. It's like from like 10 to 12, and then like another after my kids sleep. Like I don't even open my phone if I can in the evenings when I'm taking care of them.
I think it's important to have that plan or that schedule, like to do for yourself. I think it's so easy to continuously like look at numbers, or to like check my phone. I have to respond right away.
Yeah.
And I think knowing that and creating that balance by like, let me take some time off. Like it's not going to be the end of the world if I don't respond right away, or, we could wait, and kind of prioritizing like, your children, your family first, and then, empowering other people as well.
I feel like all these social media platforms are like soul sucking, in the sense where once you post something, you just sit there and watch it. And you're just like, oh, how many people watch my story? Are people really engaged? What can I do to make this better? So you're always constantly just like worried about it. And instead of being a stress reliever, it's like the most anxiety riddled thing that can happen.
It's like also thinking about what to post. Like because I took some courses like on Instagram and algorithm, and like you have to post reels, and I'm like, reels?
It's so wild. So that there's classes.
Like, what reels am I going to do?
Then you just sit there recording and re-recording.
It's just like, it takes time. So now I just give myself a certain time of the week, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do these amount of reels and record it this time. Even for YouTube episodes, like I give myself twice a week, and then like editing, it's whenever I can. And it's like, instead of stressing about when I'm going to post, it's like, okay, it's ready. Let me post it now. Take care of your family. Because in reality, if you like open your eyes, like you put down your phone and just like look around, you're like, whoa, this is real life, not the phone. And people get stuck on other people's like lives. Like, oh, this person traveled. You're like, oh my God, I wish I could travel right now. Just small things, like even TikTok, I just post and I leave because TikTok is like it's like you're stuck for hours. Like
Scrolling.
Let's just forget it.
You know, it's really bad when you hit that point where that message pops up and the guy's like, you've been scrolling for a while.
I haven't been to that point yet.
No. I've been to that point like I think 3 or 4 times and they're like, it's 4 a.m., dude. Even we're telling you get off the app.
That's sad. It's like
it really is.
The app is telling you to get up.
It's so interesting that we have you here today, subhanAllah, like talking about all these things. And I feel like us as a podcast, we're like in the midst of all that because we are releasing our March special. So we're dropping a video every day. Like we're trying to constantly update Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, like be as active as possible. And we're kind of consumed by it, or we're spending so much time on it just to make it as good as we can. And then when we do take a step back, we're like, oh, like this is what's actually going on around us, or like, you know, we have to go to work in the morning. So it's kind of hard switching the mindset between constantly checking your Instagram, making sure everyone's satisfied with your content versus like, okay, being focused in the moment, you know, living your life in the moment and not dedicating too much time. But I mean, the way you're speaking about it so positively and so hopeful, it gives me hope that we're going to be okay.
You're going to be fine. I mean, you have to post like as Instagram rules, like whatever, like just to tell you, you need to post every day, right?
Yeah.
Just to keep getting more and more people to see your post, but not like 100 posts a day, you know, just one post. So yeah, planning ahead, I think is good. Like planning all your posts so you don't have to stress about it. It's just that time to plan. You take like an hour to plan like your week or something. And I mean, I say that, but sometimes I don't do that. It's like I post like randomly. I'm like, this is fun.
Going back to your platform though, is this something that you wish you had when you were starting up your business?
Yes, but I was so fortunate. Like I had a friend here locally, her like Hakima, my friend. She's a really good friend of mine. And she is a personal stylist. And she used to be doing all these fashion shows like for DC Fashion Week. And when I started up, she helped me create my first photo shoot. Like I hired her to help me get models and do everything. So she was so helpful for me. So she's really the person that I'm like, oh, thank you so much for being there for me, even though I just started. And I'm hoping that I could be that as well, like just a small stepping stone in their business so that they can just get some kind of views from different people easily and talk about their products. And that's why I want to create a bigger audience. You know, that's my goal. It's like to get bigger to help other people. So it's like, what are your intentions as a company? Like you got to think about that as well. Like as a podcast show for you guys, like what is your intention? Like what you always have to remind yourself of that intention instead of worrying about followers and stuff. And like, I think that's going to help you grow no matter what.
Did you ever reject a business?
Oh, no.
Because of the, so you never did.
Oh, you mean like I say no.
Like because of their purpose. Yeah. Or because of what they were selling or whatever. Did you ever just like, no?
Yeah, they're not Muslim. They were like, a company that was like, oh, I would love to showcase your masks. Like when I was like having masks, and then they were like, I'll be an influencer, but they're like half naked, and I was like, you're not gonna show.
You need to mask other things. Yeah.
There's no time I've said no. I do have like features, so I do actually get paid for some things because like I need to keep supporting my website and everything. So I'm trying to, but those are like the bigger items like YouTube's and other features, but I try to do as much free as possible for that as well. So
it's beautiful that you keep your standards. You're like, this is, you know, the Islamic standards that I'm going to stick to, and I'm not going to be swayed because you can either offer more money or because of whatever situation it might be.
Yeah. And I work with companies. If they're like, oh, I really want to do this, but I can't afford it. Let's work on your budget or whatever it is, you know. I do believe that if you're doing something, you should also get support yourself as well, because then you can't sustain it for a long time. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of free things, but I've talked to a business coach. This is what happened. Like, cause I was doing so much free stuff. It's like draining. They're like, you got to charge for something so that you can sustain yourself and feel motivated as well. Because after a while, if you keep doing free things, like this is just in general a rule for anything, for any company. It's like if you do a lot of free things, then that's great, but sometimes it's not going to help you as a business.
Do you ever feel guilty about that? You're just like,
I do, but it's like
free.
I spend so much time on some of these things, like 3, 4, or 5 hours.
Yeah. And not only that, it's when you're promoting people's small businesses, it's also a resource. So it's not just a marketing tool. It's also like a networking tool so that they also can find other people. And I think no one sees that as like as valuable as what it is.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's a problem also with Muslim people. Like us, we like to get the cheapest things. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like we don't value other people. We expect like free from other people. And I think that's when you have to value yourself. It's like a big conversation I'm still working on as a business owner, because I want to be supportive, but I also want to support my business. So it's like, how much do you value yourself?
Yeah, it's just a balance between giving and taking.
Somebody asked me the other day, it's like, how is your directory free? Like, you should be monetizing on that, Alex. I'm like, why would I do that? Like, I don't need this directory. So then it's like, do I do that? No, I don't want to do that. I want to keep it free and keep it for everybody. And
your kindred heart can't do it.
No, because it's like, I mean, when I became Muslim, like it was, first of all, hard to find modest clothing. It was like 16 years ago. And then just 2 years ago, I started wearing hijab, and it's like, I had to like, who makes hijabs? All I knew was hot hijab. That's it. And then like, as I learned all these, there's like 20 companies at least listed on my directory of hijab companies.
I didn't even think about that. Like the benefit that it has to people who just aren't aware of what they're looking for. I didn't think about how hard that struggle is.
Yeah, it's hard. I think it's hard for converts as well, like big time, because they're just like, what do I do? Where I'm actually going to post a YouTube soon for converts, like helping them out. I filmed it already, and I just have to edit, but it's like telling them where to go, what places to do, like, here's some directory, helpful, whatever.
Because you don't think of all that nuanced stuff. You just assume people just know.
Well, especially if you're like an Arab community and you're always with Arabs, like,
yeah. You're like, what do you mean you don't know where to get hijabs? Did you just go to the local store down the corner?
We have like a store every block.
Alex, are you working out of US, right? Out of the US?
Yeah, I'm in Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah, I live like, some people say they're in DC because I'm like literally 30 minutes away.
Okay.
Yeah.
When Inara came to us with your page and she was showing it to us, it was just kind of interesting because looking at it was super helpful, even for people that were like raised in Arab communities. Like we live near an Arab community, and it's relatively easy for us to have access to everything. But then again, there's always something that we're lacking, or there's so many things on your page that we didn't even know really existed, like that's up for purchase really, or that, it's just, a different way of living. And it was just, we didn't know it existed until we saw your page also.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's great. That means like, at least I'm picking stuff that like, everyone can maybe benefit from.
Do you have like a business that you were proud to collaborate with, in the sense where like after you made that connection, you were so like ecstatic?
Well, I did do one with a business, but it was actually owned by a man in Europe. It's the prayer mats. It's called My Salah mat, and all they do is like they created an interactive prayer mat that has like 30 keys, and it teaches your kids how to pray. And I messaged them. I was like, I'm working on a prayer mat episode, and they're like, we'll send you one for free. And they're in the UK, and they're like, just create a video for us. And I was like, sure. And like we worked together, but they were so kind. The business model is like all about promoting other businesses too, whenever they showcase it. And they're in the UK, but they were so sweet. And I think what they're doing is like really helping children learn prayer. So that's one company. It's not a woman-owned business. I was like, wait a second, but it was like it showed how caring they were. Like, they were like, hey, even though I didn't have, like, I had like 6,000 followers at that time, when they sent it to me, they didn't care. They're like, here you go, like, promote it. We love what you're doing. So it's like, wow. Like, and they have like 50, 100,000. I don't even know how many.
Wow.
Followers. So they're up there. So I was just like, wow,
This
like,
is
they believed in
gold.
me. And this was like one of my first YouTube reviews. And so that was really inspiring.
It's interesting because you also, they do prayer mats, and then you're promoting these prayer mats. Just imagine someone buys the prayer mat based off of your review on it, and then they learn to pray. That's like probably a lot of hasanat building up, right? You get this passive income of hasanat. I see you're working on it.
That's true. I didn't think about it.
I didn't either till right now. Now I'm going to go get these prayer mats and start pushing them towards people.
Yeah, they're really amazing. Mashallah. And then my kids love them. So that was one company. If I think about it, it's like one of the most, it really inspired me to keep doing this. Because I was like, wow, they really believe in me. And then they were like, we loved what you did. And I was like, oh, like so excited. It's exciting when somebody is like, you're doing such a great job.
Yeah.
And they're at a different level than you and telling you that. So
people don't realize how important that is or how motivating that is. Just like to send a quick message to someone, be like, hey, I like your stuff. Mm-hmm. That gives you a high for like a week or two.
Right. Even like commenting like on YouTube, when like, even if I get like one comment from that video, they're like, this really helped me. I'm going to buy this item. It's like, I did my job, you know? It's like, that's what matters. I think it's just like one person was influenced by it, like, and was helped by it. And that's, I think that's more important than worrying if like hundreds of people like cared, you know, or liked your post.
So Alex, we've asked all of our questions, but are there additional tips and advice you'd like to give? Honestly, in any of your experiences, like as small businesses, as an acupuncturist, as a woman, as a mom, is there anything else you think you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, something that's coming up is like, don't doubt your own wisdoms and your own strength, especially when you're talking with people and maybe even giving them advice or whatever it is, because I remember saying something, I don't even remember actually what I said to somebody, an acupuncture patient, like 10 years ago, and they came back to me and they're like, you were there for me when I was in my lowest point. And I was like, what? You don't even know how much when you're giving to somebody, like give it with all your heart, but you're really benefiting that person, and don't feel doubt of your own kindness. You know, that's what really, I think it's like, we need to give more kindness to each other, and it will benefit that person. Even if they don't think it's still putting it out there, and God is watching you do that, you know? So, and don't doubt yourself, like in your business, like it's all about your intentions. Like, what is your intention? And just keep reminding yourself about your intentions. Like, as a business owner, like, why are you doing this? And that will keep you going in whatever you do.
I love that that's your parting message, Alex, because I feel like you live that, you embody that. You're not just spewing words, you're actually trying to actively also do that. And I mean, us first and foremost, we appreciate all the work that you do, and we appreciate that you took the time to come onto our show and just share your experiences with us. I mean, it's not always easy for us to get guests either. You know, we're still in that growing stage. We're still trying to be very, very big, inshallah. So we love when people take the time to come out and talk to us. And you've given so many tips that we're going to use, inshallah, to just kind of kick up our marketing and just how we do things. So we really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed all of you guys. You're so sweet. And I just feel like I knew you guys from before. When I come to Chicago one day, you know.
Yes, definitely. We'll give you a personal directory of what to do in Chicago.
Yeah,
we've got a few things. But thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much to everyone at home for tuning in to yet another episode of To Whom It May Concern. We hope you had just as much fun listening to this episode as we did recording, and we hope that you really got a lot out of this experience and out of these stories. We hope that God continues to ease your path, Alex, and continues to allow you to grow and grow so that you can help others grow and succeed, inshallah. If you don't already, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Don't forget, we are in the midst of our March special, so tune into the episodes we've already recorded. And don't forget to continue to tune in every day for the rest of the month. Give this video a big fat thumbs up. And if you're not already, you need to subscribe. We will have Alex's social media pages and her YouTube channel as well, so that you can tune in and listen to all her videos. Sincerely, the Modern Skeptics. P.S. Be the change you wish to see in the world.